Hello, and welcome back to the Misty Morrison podcast. I'm your host, the wonderful Misty Morrison, and this is our next episode of Was I in the Wrong? Let's get into the stories. Alright, story number 1 is coming to us from r/AITAH. AITA for kicking my sister out of my house for telling my husband he's so lucky to be rich. My husband lost both of his parents when he was 17. Their deaths were preventable and others died alongside them. And because of this, a lawsuit followed, and at a young age, my husband found himself orphaned but wealthy. But I think we can all understand that this money wasn't some great thing that he celebrated, because it came at a huge loss for him, his parents. We met a few years after he was awarded the money, and we got married after dating for 4 years. We're now the proud parents to our 3 kids, and we have a stable life. We're very comfortable, and few know exactly how much my husband actually has. He's very smart with his money and not only invests, but looks to our future and the future of each of our children. We both still work very hard, but the money means we are also very fortunate. My family, parents and sister, is aware that my husband's parents are dead. They also know about the lawsuit and that money was paid to the family members. They have no idea how much my husband has. Not my parents, and definitely not my sister. But they know and were told how he'd give it all away to have his parents back. Which is why I reacted strongly when my sister made the comment she did. We had my family over for dinner. My sister mentioned wanting to bring her boyfriend for any future dinners, and everyone was talking about that. Then my sister mentioned wanting to go away with her boyfriend for the weekend and how they were saving up to go. My sister said it was a big step because they were also talking about moving in with each other. My husband mentioned we had gone to the place they were talking about going to, and they'd have a great time. She says she hoped so, but she wouldn't have the same kind of money he does. He told her we did nothing fancy there, which was 100% true. My parents wanted to know when they were thinking of moving in together. Things were going fine. Then my sister out of nowhere said to my husband the least he could do was offer them the money for the weekend away, since he could afford it. I shut her down and said she wasn't entitled to other people paying for her trips with her boyfriend. My sister responded that he could afford to send them for a month if he wanted to. My husband told her that was a big ask, and she snapped at him and said he had no idea how lucky he was to be rich because she'd give anything to have that kind of money. The insensitivity of the comment enraged me, and I told my sister she needed to leave. I made sure to get her ass out that door too, because I wasn't tolerating that BS. My sister has told me almost every day since that I overreacted and throwing her out was over the top. I told her I don't want to hear anything but a sincere apology from her to my husband, and until that point, she can stay out of my house. My husband said I didn't need to stand by that, and he didn't want to come between us. I told him he wasn't coming between us. She was. AITA for my actions, and am I being too harsh here? I just thinking that comment is downright cruel and vicious when you consider my husband had to be orphaned to get that money. OP, you are right. You are absolutely not the asshole. I probably would have snapped back at her with something a little bit more snarky when she said, she'd give anything to have that kind of money. I would have been like, oh, really? So you'd give your parents to have that kind of money? Because that's what happened to him. That's just such a depressing situation. I'm really sorry for your husband that he had to go through that, especially at that age. But yeah, your sister was a bitch. And so entitled to just be like, the least you could do is offer to give us the money for the weekend. Oh, you could afford to send us for a whole month. It's not his trip. Like, you're just his sister-in-law. He gains no benefit from sending you on a trip for the weekend with your boyfriend. That is not his to pay for. You're right, she is not entitled to that. And even without the reason why he got the money being so grim, that still just blows my mind that she thought she could be like, oh, well, you're rich, so pay for my trip. That's That just blows my mind. I don't think you overreacted. I'm really glad you are sticking to your guns, sticking to what you said about she needs to come up with that sincere apology before she can come back to your house. I think that is 1,000% right. I'm glad your husband is being understanding enough that he's like, I don't want to come between you. It's not that big a deal. But I think you're right, because if it's not a big deal the first time, she will continue to feel entitled. She will ask this kind of thing again. She will make that kind of comment again. So I'm glad you shut down the first time that it happened. Okay, that was a good one to start off with today. Story number 2 is coming to us from r/AITA_WIBTA_public. AITA for refusing to let my neighbor's kids use my pool after they kept ignoring my rules. Immediate reaction is no, that's a safety issue. When I bought my house last year, one of the things I was most excited about was the pool. I take care of it, I pay for the upkeep, and now that summer's here, I've been using it almost every day. A few weeks ago, my neighbor Karen asked if her kids, 8, 10, and 12, could use my pool since they don't have one. I wasn't thrilled about the idea, but I agreed as long as they followed a few simple rules before coming over. Let's see. Such as have an adult present, don't trash the pool, or try to sneak in when I'm not home. At first, it was fine. The kids would swim, have fun, and leave. But then little things started happening. I caught them in my backyard without permission. One day I came home from work and found them swimming alone. No adults in sight. Another time they were throwing food into the pool. I brought it up to Karen and she just brushed it off, saying, "Oh, they just got excited." She promised it wouldn't happen again. It did. The final straw was last Saturday. I woke up early, stepped outside, and there they were in my pool again. Completely unsupervised. That was it. I told them to get out and went straight to Karen's house. I told her kids were no longer allowed in my pool. She flipped out, calling me dramatic and selfish because it's just a pool and they're just kids having fun. But I don't care. It's my property, my responsibility, and I gave them more than enough chances. If I can't trust them to respect my rules, why should I keep letting them in? Now some neighbors think I'm being harsh, but honestly, how many chances was I supposed to give? Am I really the bad guy for not wanting to deal with this anymore? AITA? No, OP. You gave more than enough chances. You are right in this situation. Besides the fact that it is a safety issue, you spend so much time and money on upkeep for a swimming pool. It's completely understandable that you would have your rules, you wanted to stay clean. I would have lost my mind and been done the moment I saw them throwing food in the pool. Because not only did you break the rules, but you just created more work for me to do. To get the food out of the pool, make sure all the levels, the chemicals and everything are still right. And I don't need more work to do. So yeah, you were more than generous with your chances. And I don't blame you one bit. And again, the safety issue, of swimming by themselves, no adults in sight, they are pretty young, 8, 10, and 12. And even regardless of age, like if that was your rule, your expectation, they should have been willing to abide by that to maintain use of the pool. So they didn't care enough to follow the rules. They don't get to use the pool anymore. It's fair to me. Story number 3 is coming to us from r/would I be the a-hole? Would I be the a-hole for kicking my cousin out if she shows up to my wedding uninvited? Initial reaction, no. Your wedding, your rules. If you don't want somebody there, they shouldn't be there. Throwaway account because my friends use Reddit, so names are changed. My wedding is in a few days, and I need an outside perspective before things potentially blow up. A little background. My cousin Lisa used to date my fiancé Jake years ago. They met in college. They were in the same friend group and ended up dating for a couple of years. It was serious for a while, but things fell apart due to bad timing and differences in what they wanted for the future. It was amicable. Jake and I met later through the same mutual friends. Lisa and I were close, so at first it seemed like a weird coincidence, but she was supportive of our relationship. It was over long before I even met him, and I never really thought it was an issue. Lisa and I have always been close, and I never felt weird about the fact that she and Jake had history until now. A few weeks ago, I found out from Lisa, not Jake, that she met up with him behind my back. Apparently, she needed closure before he got married, and told him she still thinks about him sometimes and wonders if they made a mistake breaking up. Jake assured me that he shut her down immediately and told her he's marrying me. But the fact that he kept it a secret from me really hurt. After a long argument, I told Jake that Lisa was no longer invited to the wedding. She completely overstepped, and I honestly don't want to be standing at the altar knowing she's sitting in the audience, wondering what if. Jake wasn't thrilled about uninviting her, but he agreed. I also made it clear to Lisa that she was not welcome. But now I'm hearing from family members that Lisa still plans to come. She's telling people that since she's family, she deserves to be there, and that it's unfair for me to exclude her over a misunderstanding. Here's where I might be the asshole. If Lisa shows up, I will have her kicked out. My maid of honor promised to handle it and kick Lisa out if she showed up. I don't care if it causes a scene. I don't care if it makes things uncomfortable. She was explicitly told not to come, and if she tries to ignore that, she's the one ruining the day, not me. But some of my relatives think I'm being petty. Part of me wonders if I should just let it go and ignore her if she does show up. Would making her leave just escalate the situation unnecessarily? Should I just suck it up and keep the peace for one day? I don't like the idea of keeping the peace for one day because I feel like that sets a precedent. I feel like if you let something go with someone pushy like that one time, they're going to get the idea that they can walk all over you the rest of the time. I don't think you're the asshole, OP. I think you're right. I mean, as long as your fiance also fully agreed to it, he understands the reasons why, he respects your choice, then it's completely your choice if you want to have her removed. I feel like lots of people do that. They have like a day of planner or coordinator. I forget what it's called. But at bigger weddings, people have like the person who handles everything that day. And some people even have security, and you can, have so many people know, like, hey, if this person shows up, they need to leave. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts, they gotta go. And I think that's fair. I kind of, because you guys were close, I hate that it came to this, but that is a choice she made to meet up with your, I think, fiance at the time, behind your back to get her closure. I think that was weird. I think that was disrespectful. And I don't blame you for not wanting her there when you're trying to celebrate your special day, knowing that she's not really celebrating with you. OP, you are right. All right. Story number 4 is coming to us from r/AITAH. I kissed my brother, and now my fiance wants to break up with me since he finds it weird. AITAH. Initial reaction. Hold on. I kissed my brother, and now my fiance wants to break up with me since he finds it weird. Am I the asshole? Ooh. I need more details before I say whether or not you're the asshole, but I also think it's weird that you kissed your brother. I do. Throwaway account because I find this embarrassing to post. Another indication that you're probably wrong. But my head is a mess right now, and I need some assurance that I'm quote-unquote normal. Me, 25 female, and my brother, 17 male, have been close since childhood. It wouldn't be a lie to say that our main love language is physical touch. I see him as my baby. He's adorable and such a sweet kid. We hug, cuddles, and he also relies on me emotionally a lot. Now comes my fiance, 29 male. We've been together for 3 years now, and he knows that I'm close with my brother. I moved in with my fiance last year, so I don't even get to meet my brother that often. So every time I meet and hug him, my fiance had always made some passing remarks like, "Whoa there," or "You guys sure are close." I just roll my eyes since I thought he was joking back then. But 5 days back, it was my mom's birthday, and it's been 4 months since I saw my family in real life, aside from video calls, as we live in different cities. It was a small party with relatives, and I was happy to be there. We were planning to stay for the night and leave the next morning. At night, me and my fiance were up watching a movie when my brother knocked and came inside asking if we could talk. My fiance gave me a side eye, but I got up and followed him. I asked him what was wrong. He said he missed me and that he's been having a hard time at school since he's struggling with his studies. He's a smart kid. He's at the top of his school, unlike me, and I knew he always had stress issues. He also mentioned how his friends are being very rude to him in one way or another, and this made him cry while talking about it, so obviously I was consoling him. We talked for around 1 hour before I hugged him saying everything will be fine, and this is when my fiance walked in and asked, "Are you guys done?" He sounded upset, and he could have phrased that better, but after a few more minutes, I got up, gave my brother a kiss on the cheek, and told him we could continue to talk tomorrow. But once I got inside the room with my fiance, I think hell broke loose. He started telling me how gross I was for kissing my own brother. He said he was already upset that I have hugged, cuddled, and had my brother lay on my lap before on other occasions, but now the kissing was the final nail in the coffin. He said that I prioritize my brother more than I do for him, which is not true at all. I hardly see my brother ever since I moved out. He also said that I'm not seeing my brother as my family and that our relationship is not normal. He literally told me, "You guys are in love," and is having an affair, and that he hates how we touch each other since it comes off sexual. I'm aware a lot of siblings don't do physical touch, but it doesn't say anywhere doing it is wrong. I don't understand what is sexual about this. Please help me understand. These made me feel so awful, so I told him that my then father, separated now, was really abusive to my mom, me and my brother, as kids, which often makes me feel like I should protect him, and that's all there is to it. But he didn't even let me explain before he just left the room. The next day, he called his mom and said he wanted to break off with me. I talked to her myself, and she said I should stay away from my brother if the marriage has to happen, since it could affect my fiancé mentally, as he is a single child, so he wouldn't understand how siblings feel. She said it's better for both of us. Now I'm so conflicted because I don't understand what I did wrong. I never felt like I did anything to warrant a breakup. I love my brother and I love my fiancé too. I knew my fiancé always made backhanded remarks about my brother before, but it never crossed my mind he took it so seriously until that day. Please, AITAH, am I really acting weird with my brother? If I am, please tell me what I can do to not be like this that wouldn't hurt my brother in the process too. Okay, we needed that context right from the beginning that it was a kiss on the cheek and not a kiss on the mouth. That's not weird. That is normal. Like hugging, kisses on the cheeks. I think even cuddling on the couch is normal for family members or siblings. I don't think that's weird. I definitely do know that a lot of people are not touchy-feely. And the people that are not touchy-feely do tend to find it weird. Especially if he is an only child and he never had like any kind of sibling bond like that. He might just view all, and especially if his parents were not touchy-feely with him, he might just view all physical touch as sexual. That is just his framing of it. OP, you are right. You are not the asshole. I don't necessarily think this relationship is salvageable because I feel like if it was this serious to him that he's willing to break up over it once you're already engaged, it should have been something he was willing to talk about in the beginning beyond just backhanded compliments that could be misconstrued as joking. He did say things, but you didn't take it seriously. because he always said it like in passing. Yeah, I really don't like the way he handled it, that he was just really passive aggressive about it for 3 years, and then all of a sudden it's worth breaking up over. That is something that he needed to have a conversation with you about early on and say, hey, XYZ makes me uncomfortable. I don't think it's normal. This is why. And you guys could have had conversations about it. You could have had counseling. You could have polled other people with siblings and given him the results. There were so many things that could have been done before it got to this point. And I really don't like his mom getting involved and saying that you just seeing your brother less is better for the both of you because the marriage should still happen to protect your fiance's mental health. What about your mental health if his family cuts you off from your family? What about your brother's mental health when you're like his person? That is completely unfair to me. I don't think that is at all something that they should be asking you to do. I wish there was an update on this. This is from 20 days ago, and there's no update to it. But I hope if you watch this or if you read the replies, OP, I hope you don't believe them that this is weird. I think you're being fully normal, and I think you should pick your family over your fiance. Good luck getting out of that one, because that sounds like that's going to have a messy end. Story number 5 is coming to us from r/would I be the a-hole? Would I be the a-hole if I were to interfere with this relationship? I am aware of a grooming situation online. The 2 parties involved are a girl 14 and a guy 21. The problem is, I know both parties. Both parties are aware of their ages but do not care. They are, quote, in love and convinced there's nothing wrong. Their love isn't innocent either. Me and the other people aware of the situation have both brought up the problems with what is happening between the two, and they simply ignore it. It's, quote, none of your business. Another thing to put into light is that the guy is very mentally immature. So I'm not sure if he is aware of how bad the situation that he has put himself in. The thing is, the guy has a bright future ahead of him, and if this gets out, it's ruined. I simply cannot bring myself to ruin his life. The girl, on the other hand, if she finds out that I was involved to break them up or sabotage the two, she would cut off everyone in the friend group, including the people that are not aware. What is the best course of action in this situation? That's a big question. Immediately, right or wrong, the situation is illegal. Assuming you're in the United States, the situation is illegal based on the ages. Let's see. That's a 7-year age gap. In all reality, like, the age gap is not that big, but it makes a difference when you get down into the younger teen years. And I would say 14 is definitely it's only 2 years into being a teenager. It's the younger teen years. Oof. I mean, I don't think it's really for you to do anything about it. If they're actually together in real life, I don't necessarily think it's a grooming situation. It's just kind of a messed up relationship. It's hard, but I really don't feel like it's yours to interfere with. Like, they're not hurting you. They don't immediately seem to be hurting each other. And I mean, if her parents are not willing to do something about it, I don't think it's for you to do something about it. If you really felt that strongly about it, you could try to anonymously report it, since it is breaking the law. I don't necessarily know that that would go anywhere if her or her parents weren't willing to follow through with charges. Not sure. Depends on the state, probably. Best course of action in that situation? I don't know what I would do in that situation. That's messy. I would say go with your gut. Your first instinct is normally the right one, and if you feel like you need to say something to the authorities or whoever, then say something. But you also said that you can't bring yourself to ruin his life. So I think maybe you just need to distance yourselves from these two so you can honestly say, like, you are not involved in the situation. And then, if you're closer with him than you are with her, if and when they finally break up, just be there for him and hope he makes better choices in the future. But if they don't see anything wrong with what they're doing, you cannot convince them otherwise. They're going to believe whatever they believe. That is messy. Yeah, I'm sorry you're stuck in the middle of that. But I wouldn't say that you'd be the asshole for interfering with it. I don't think that would be wrong. This situation is just a mess. It's just a big mess, and there's not going to be any clean way to handle it. All right. That was quite a way to end this episode. That is 5 stories for episode 11 of Was I in the Wrong? Thank you for tuning in again. If you are listening on podcast, please leave a 5-star review, share with your friends if you like the content. If you are watching on YouTube, leave a comment, subscribe, like the video. It helps the channel grow. And I will see you next time for another episode of the Misty Marson podcast. Thanks so much. Bye.